Hi, my name is Cristina Kountiou. I'm a teaching fellow here at PolyU for fashion business. I've been in the industry for 20 years and I've been teaching for the past 7 years and have been in fashion design and fashion business throughout all of that. Hong Kong has a really long history when it comes to fashion. It started off as a manufacturing hub, it then moved into sourcing, and now we're actually seeing it very much integral when it comes to retail. And so with this history, you've actually got a really beautiful playing field that a student can actually reach from and discover. We're looking at pre-COVID and post-COVID. Retail was facing quite a few issues anyways and regardless. We were looking at brick and mortar stores, looking at different strategies pre-COVID, pre-pandemic. That was to kind of e-commerce and deal with the fact that they were lacking in bringing in more consumers into the stores. I definitely think that people are still going to always want to go into the stores. And so what they are actually looking at in the future is how interesting and how informative can brands actually make that retail experience and to work in conjunction with e-commerce. How to differentiate your unique selling point through fashion business and fashion marketing. You really need to understand what the unique selling point of your brand actually is. Is it sustainability? Is it product development? Is it the story behind with which started the business? You see a lot of brands right now jumping on the bandwagon of sustainability just because they think it's a trend. Your clientele, specifically today, the new generation, really wants brands to be authentic. They really want brands to be unique. And that is really important for brands to understand that they need that authenticity in order to reach the clientele of today. We've been seeing in the past few years e-commerce really skyrocketing, making it much easier for consumers to buy. You are looking at a lot more people going online, specifically with the current pandemic. Prior to this, you saw people doing their research and their due diligence online and still going into the stores. Now you're seeing a lot more people reaching out to the big brands and actually shopping directly onto e-commerce, and less people wanting to go into the actual stores. But that trend was happening prior to the pandemic. It's just escalated right now. So understanding these two things is really crucial and important. Also understanding the shopping habits of your consumer, understanding just how important that is a pinpoint for you to be able to understand why they shop the way they shop and how they're influenced. All of these key factors come into play in also the historical aspect, the present, how that is moving forward, and then being able to predict what the consumer and the trends are going to evolve into and why. Definitely we're seeing an escalation in digitization, so that is something that brands need to be aware of in embracing digital. In general, the fashion industry has been dealing with the issues arising around this pandemic. It's not just retail. There are logistic issues, product development issues, merchandising issues. And what we're seeing is that a few brands are ahead of the curve, are actually trying to digitize more their business. In order to do that, we're seeing companies that are, instead of meeting just via Zoom, they're creating virtual platforms where they can meet with their buyers beforehand. We're also seeing companies, instead of just creating a ton of product, they're creating digital product, so they're limiting the amount of resources that they're using and streamlining that process even more. And in regards to retail, we're seeing a lot more businesses also go e-commerce, more digital. So digitization is definitely something that there's an opportunity there. We're looking at some companies exploring AR, VR, and new technological advances And so if we're looking at retail, there are a variety of experiential ways that they can explore. So it could be product presentations in store, more of a showroom experience, less of a shopping experience. We've seen elements of this prior to COVID, for example, Grana in Hong Kong, that they had more of a showroom experience where people would go into the store and then place a order from what they saw in store, and it was delivered to their house. And this is not just in Hong Kong, this is a trend that's been happening globally. I have my advice to new-coming students taking on fashion business. I can't think of a more interesting and better time to be taking it now. I know that sounds really odd considering the current environment, but it's an opportunity to actually come up with unique ideas, and that's what's exciting. And the fashion industry is one of the oldest and has been following a really old system for many years, and now's the time to relook at that system and see what are unique ways and changing that up and trying new things.